share with you. Hi, Alexandra. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just gonna share with you the topic for today. It's from zero to full stack. It's a practical guide to getting started the right way. And we do have Abigail. Now, Abigail is actually one of our foremost Wenti. So she was a Wenti in 2023, I believe, Abigail. Um, and today she has made great strides. Um, and pretty much that's the reason why we decided that we were going to bring her on for today's session. So again, welcome to everyone who's in. We're expecting to have a full room today, but I just want to get started and have the floor open to Abigail. Her name is Abigail Kirwa. She's from Kenya, and she is a full stack developer. She's also an AI and ML enthusiast and a UI UX designer. Abigail, thank you tremendously for taking out time to be with us today. We really appreciate it. You can go ahead and share your screen and let us know, what juice you have for us today. Again, welcome to the entire community. Hi, Alexandra, always looking beautiful. Welcome, Rejoice. Abigail, please go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Andy. I'm sorry, Dorothy.
That's
Let me
fine.
share my screen. Are you able to view my screen?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Then I think we can get started. So my name is Abigail Kirwa, and I'm a software developer at MTRH, the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. It's one of the national hospitals here in Kenya. And today I'll be taking you through a brief description of what full stack development is, and then I'll be able to answer some of the questions from the community after that. So let's begin. So what is full stack development? It encompasses the process of application software development, and it tackles two um, items, that is front end and back end development. So front end has to do with everything UI. So that is everything that the user interacts with, like the page structure, the layout, the styling, all of that is encompassed in front end. And we'll still discuss more about this later. And then there's also back end, and that's where all the logic lives. So when it comes to now sending data to and from the database, will encompass all of that logic under backend. So we can break this down a bit more. When it comes to front end development, the very basic components that you would need to develop a web page is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So HTML gives you the structure of the page. So it gives you the bare bones of the web page that you're going to design. You can define different elements from there, whether it's a button, a form, whether it's text. You use HTML for that. And then CSS is now used for the styling. So when you want to improve on the styling of your HTML elements, you target them using CSS. And then JavaScript comes in for interactivity and logic. So if you want to, let's say, have an alert happen when a user, for example, submits something on a form or something of the sort, basically you need interaction, then you'll use JavaScript for that. Um, so those are the three main ones that are used for designing web applications. If you're aiming to start, this is you need to master the three of these, and then from then on, you'll continue to hone your skills. You'll be able to progress and use frameworks, and yeah. So the key concepts that are under front-end development is responsive design, and that means being able to design for different screens. So you can have a user who prefers to use their mobile, another one who prefers to use their desktop, another one who prefers to use their tablet. So something that you always need to keep in mind as you design is that you need to be able to design for all of the three of the screen sizes. So nothing should break as a user is trying to interact with your website with a different device. Um, Something else that you need to know is forms and user input. So a lot of the times, when you want to send data to your database, you'll first begin with using forms or having users being able to type in data, and then from there is when now you'll be able to extract that data, for example, using JSON format or whichever format that you prefer, and then send to your database. Another thing you need to know is browser behavior. So you need to understand the DOM using JavaScript, how different browsers behave. There are certain browsers that have more accessibility than others, and it's something to keep in mind as you're developing your web application. So the goal is to create clean, usable, and accessible interfaces. All right, so we can proceed to back-end development. So this is basically everything that is happening behind the scenes. So if you want to have a seamless transition where data is being submitted to and from your web application, all of that happens in the back end. The main components are a server, a database, and APIs. So in the server, you handle the requests and the responses. So if a user has sent a response through a form, then you need to be able to create certain functions to be able to handle that data. You may clean it first and then now begin to send it to your DB. Your database stores the application data. So whatever the user was able to fill in from the front end, that is now sent to the back end, and then from the back end it goes to the database. And now from there, you can also pull that data from the database and display it on the user interface. So in terms of database, there's a lot more to even unpack. You need to be able to understand. We have SQL and NoSQL databases. Basically, in SQL, they store data in a tabular format. So we have, think of it as columns and rows. So you have a key and a value pair. And then for NoSQL, they're able to store data in various ways, for example, using JSON. Um, and examples of that for SQL databases is MySQL. And then for NoSQL is something like MongoDB. Um, yeah. And then the last component is APIs. So these ones are the ones that connect the front end to your back end. So when you're in your back end, you can create certain routes that link to functions. So if a function is supposed to send data to your database, you now encompass it in a route and you use that route in your front end. So in your front end, you'll be able to link using that. So that's how the two operate. Some common technologies are Node.js, Python, and PHP. That is for the server. And then we have SQL and NoSQL databases that I had explained before. And then we also have REST APIs. So the goal in backend development is to process data securely and efficiently. Um, So basically, how front end and back end communicate, to just tie it all together, is the user interacts with the UI. So assume that I am registering for a service. So I interact with your UI. I see the form that you have on your web application. I fill in my details. I put in my full name, my email address, my phone number, and then it's now time for sending that request, response, my request actually, from the form to now go to your backend. So you'll use the API. So on your front end, you'll call that API. Remember, we had said like a route that has been defined in the backend. And then after you call it, the backend will automatically now process that request. And then in processing the request, it can either give a 200 response, which means it is okay and it has been accepted, or you can get a 400 response, which means there is a certain issue. And then you'll be able to fix it depending on the error that has been displayed. But assuming now that it has gone through successfully, then it means the database is query or updated. And then the backend will now send a response back to the UI. So maybe in the form of an alert saying you have successfully submitted your details or registered. So that's basically it. Some of the tools that you can use as a software developer are, one of them is the code editor. The most popular, one of the most popular ones is VS Code. This is where you write your code. This is where you'll be able to display your files, and then you'll be able to enter your code and update them accordingly. There right now there are also others like Casa has its own code editor, and that one even gives you the option of coding together with AI. So if you've heard of the time vibe coding, that's what a lot of people do. Um, Something else is the version control. So for this is being able to store your data online. The files for your project are stored in Git or GitHub, and then you can be able to update them accordingly. It's very important, especially when you're working on a team, to be able to have one source of truth for that code, depending on how the different people are editing it. Then for databases, some are MySQL, Postgres, and MongoDB. And then there are also frameworks. So frameworks are basically it's like a way to a better way to structure your code. So they'll help you with how you organize your code depending on the whether it's the front end, it will break it down for you to different components. You'll be able to store data in a better way. So a lot of frameworks are usually popular. They make coding easier also. Some examples are React, Next, Django, and Express. So the proper way to learn full stack. Understand this well to be able to now scale up to the point where you can be able to use frameworks and other sophisticated tools. You have to have this foundation right in order to have an easier time when coding. Then you can learn one framework deeply, really understand the framework, how it's structured, how to write code in it, because every framework that has different frameworks like React and Vue and Next, or certain ways in which they structure code. Even though it's still JavaScript, like they have their own special or special way in which they organize their codes and how they're written. Also learn one backend language deeply. Um, so whether it be Python or Node, you pick one or stack and then you get really good at it. The next thing is to practice databases and APIs. So practice how to structure your database well, learn how to normalize so that you don't have to duplicate data so much, and also how to write proper and clean APIs, and also secure so that they're not able to be accessed from anywhere else. Then build small projects and later scale on to larger ones. So the different career paths and opportunities include startups, corporates, freelancing, and product teams. You can work in either of those comfortably. And for the career path, because you've become a full stack developer, you understand both front end and back end. So you can as well choose to specialize in either, or you can choose to still be a full stack developer, or you can choose to be a technical lead or architect, where basically you have a better overview of the system, and you're more in charge of the system design than the actual coding. Yeah. So that's it from me. I think we can now answer some of the questions. So Dorothy, you can list to that.
Fantastic. So can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Abigail. So, I think this would probably be one of the first few times that we're having a very technical AMA, and I appreciate the refreshing, sense of it. Thank you so much, Abigail, for coming in with that. Again, for those of you who aren't aware, women can also be technical. Abigail, if you're able to stop sharing, that would help me so I could go ahead and, pretty much begin with the questions while I put you, in the spotlight. Thank you so much. All right. So let me spotlight you for everyone. Fantastic. All right. So Abigail, we do have a lot of questions, but I'm going to start out with the first, which was provided by Alexandra. And then we'll pretty much go on with other questions that we received via mail. The first is from Alexandra, and she says, "What are the biggest hurdles newcomers face, and how can they prepare?"
Okay. I think some of the biggest challenges is the fear of first starting out. So you might experience a bit of imposter syndrome at the beginning, especially when you're coming into a new team, or as a fresh graduate, for example, or as a beginner to this new framework that they are using. And I would say the best way to first combat that is get really good at the tech stack that they're using. So, for example, where I work, we use Frappe framework. So what I did during the initial stages was I really went through the documentation, and that's really important to have. It's an important skill to have as a developer. You need to be able to skim through the documentation, read through it, review a few tutorials, and then start building using it. And that's how you start to grow your confidence. Because the more you use the tech stack, the more you will automatically be better at it, and the more confidence that you'll have moving forward. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And I think it applies to everything, that we tend to do in life. Just going, if you want to be good as a nurse, the more practice you are, the better you become, and you end up being a chief nursing officer or a matron eventually. So thank you for sharing that. The other question that Alexandra had was, what personal projects or certifications accelerated your entry into the field?
Okay. So I had done a couple of projects and I had linked them on my GitHub profile. So one of the recent ones that I did just before I entered was I had done, first of all, there was my school project where I had done a mobile application that interacted with a machine learning model and was able to teach children how to speak in sign language. Yeah. And then the other one that I had done was a hostel booking site. And basically, that was what I was doing during the free time just after graduation. I just worked on it as a passion project to kind of just continue improving my skill. Um, I had also done a couple of others while I was in school. Like I had done a library management system. I had also done a bus booking system. So those are some of the projects that I had done. And those are some of the projects that I also talked about during my interview. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot the other question.
Certifications?
Okay. Some certifications I had done were I had done one in Python and JavaScript. Um, I had used Cisco for that, and then later on, when I joined my organization, I did um, another one still in Python and JavaScript because that was what we were using in the organization. But for that, I used Codecademy. You can feel free to also use others like Coursera, like Udemy. Those ones are also good. Just make sure that what you're doing is tied into what you want to do. So if you want to be a developer and you've decided that this is the tech stack that I want to do, maybe I want to major in Python or JavaScript or even Flutter, you choose certifications based on that path and then do a few projects. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I hope that answers your question, Alexandra. Okay, great. So we did receive other questions, one of which is, what does a beginner actually build in their first few months?
Okay. So in your first few months, okay, let me speak from my organization. What they had me doing was to make small microservices. So those are like small applications that have a specific niche functionality that they are trying to achieve. I built one for SMS, so it was meant to interface with an application, and then it is supposed to send an SMS to a user's phone, depending on what is sent from the other application, from the receiving application. So that is one microservice that I worked on. Then there was another one that I did for QR generation. So I think that was basically they were giving me small tasks to first knock off, and then from that I was able to now grow a bit of confidence in using their tech stack, and then I was able to now move on to now where I'm at, where I have a few modules that I'm now tackling. Yeah.
Great response. So one more question before I ask my question. And the question says, what career options are available for full stack developers, especially for women just starting out?
Mm-hmm. um so I think I had shared a bit more about this on the slides, but because when you become a full stack developer, you're at an advantage because you have an understanding of front end and back end. So some of the roles that you'll have is you can apply for front end to be a front end developer as well as a back end developer because you have both skills. Another job that you can apply for is to become a full stack developer. Another one is also being a consultant. You can choose to consult for companies, um, and basically what you'll be doing is you'll be giving insights depending on their business model onto which are the best ways to solve the problem using technology. So those are some of the career options that you might have.
Fantastic. So here's my question, and this is a bit personal. When you started, when you decided, I want to be a tech professional, I want to go into technology, were you scared, first of all, that men dominated this field? Um, were you tensed or did you have anxiety when you started, because again, for the most part, people judge, people in different categories. For you, you are a woman who is very young, and again, the other would be you have a smallish stature. So did that affect you? Yes, because most women that are in the Wentors community may be thinking, I'm a stay-at-home mom. How do I begin this field? Were you not scared that, the men will talk you down, or that you may not do well enough, or that they would look down on you and tell you, go get coffee, bring the snacks in, and yeah, tell me.
Mhm. There is definitely that pressure while working under the tech field, and that's because you'll find in most teams, mostly they'll be male dominated, or even when you attend hackathons, you'll find like most people that are there are men. But it's something that I have slowly become accustomed to, especially even while in school, because there were fewer ladies than there were gentlemen in my class. But what I discovered is um, what you need to do is to be extremely good at what you're doing so that no one can question you. So if you have your fundamentals right, and if you know what you are doing and you're very confident in it, then it becomes easier for you to walk in those spaces and to not feel as though you are less deserving of them. So for me, it's always been something that drives me to work even more harder to show that actually, yes, I do deserve to be here. I do deserve to be in this room. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Because I don't know if it was you that I had this conversation with, but it was one of the Wenties, and they told me of how they were in the elevator once, and someone had sort of tugged them down, and this was a guy that was probably a colleague and had tugged them down, sort of intimidating them in being in, the tech industry altogether. And so it was very important because that was like a turning point for her, which made her realize that, you know what, I have the right to be here and I'm gonna be successful, where I am. So I love that you mentioned it, which is you have told yourself that I need to be extremely good so no one can explain what I do. Thank you so much, Abigail. You have poured into us. And again, to everyone who joined today's call, the goal of us bringing Abigail was one of our Wenties in 2023, thereabout 2024. I think it was 2023. And she excelled, in the position, in the role, in the pairing, in the mentorship, just being a Wenty. And today she has flourished into a full stack developer. So my challenge to every woman here, if this is one woman that can do it, you don't have any excuse. You can be a full stack developer. You can be a cybersecurity expert. You can be, a UI UX designer. You can be a data analyst. You can be it. You can be all. So she is a full-blown example of a successful woman in technology who took, who took it through every day, daily, waking up to the challenges and facing it through and through. So here's my challenge to everyone on today's call. Be extremely good, so much so that no one can question you. That's the take home for today. Um, Thank you so much, Abigail. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you to the community members for also joining. But before you guys leave, I just want to get a thank you from, I just want to thank you from, from on our chat to let Abigail know that you're grateful that she came in. You're excited that you were able to learn from today's session. But we're having one more session after the AMA, so we're all going to stay back. We do have a lot for you today after the AMA, people. But yes, I want to see comments. How do you feel about today's session? Please share your comments. I am really excited because I got what I wanted, which is Dora, be extremely good at what you do. Yes. So, Abigail, we're getting comments from some of the women. I have one from Bukola. She says, thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. I also have one from Alexandra, and she says, always amazing. Absolutely. It is always amazing when we bring in women who are great examples to other women in technology, which makes us believe that indeed we can be successful as women in tech. So again, thank you, Abigail. And yes, I'm just going to go ahead and share the other things that we have for us today. But yeah, it was a great session. It was a really great session. Thank you, Abigail. I'm gonna send you an email once we're done, when we're done rounding off today.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Okay, so ladies, we're gonna go into two breakout rooms today. And the reason for that is we want to target women who are in the Discover Her. If you know that you're in the Discover Her room, you would go to the Anita's room. And for the women in the launcher room, you're going to go to my room. So the goal of today's session is we want to break down a few things for you ahead of the cohort in March. Remember again that for this year, um, we're going to be having two cohorts open up, Discover Her and Launch Her, which is going to start in March. So we want to provide you a lot more information about the cohort. And so we're going to open the breakout room while I'm getting that started. Anita, could you help me with that if possible?
Of course, please make me co-host.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. Give me a moment while I get that ready. Okay.
And please tell them, how do they know that they're in Discover Her or Launch Her?
So
Yeah.
in the WhatsApp group, you will see that you are in Discover Her. If you are in Launch Her, that would be the title of the group. So move into if you're in the Discover Her group on our WhatsApp community, you're just gonna move into Anita's room, while my room is for women in the launcher. Now, how you would know that you're in Discover Her, aside that, is that you're in the beginner level. You're the woman who has never been in technology. You have zero understanding. You're a tech graduate. You're an undergraduate. You're a stay-at-home mom. You want to learn, what Discover Her program is. And this is because it's the beginner level, very beginner friendly, what's it called? Beginner friendly program. But for the launcher women, you are a woman who has at least 1 to 3 years of experience, but you want to learn more. You want to navigate, that particular role that you're in. And remember again that the launcher is only going to be promoting two courses, which is the data analyst course and the product management. But for Discover Her, apologies, I'm just getting it all fuzzy. For the Discover Her, we have five courses that we're pushing out this year, which is um full stack developers, for full stack
UI,
development.
UX,
You
product management,
Thank
data
you.
analysis.
Yes, absolutely. So those are the courses, five courses that will be available under Discover Her, while two courses are available. So we're gonna begin assigning people. Um, well, I think,
So if Discover Her is for you, I'm sure you would have gotten the prompt now on your screen to
mhm,
join a room. But if not, you can just put it in the chat box and I will assign you to a room. So if Discover Her is for you, please put Discover Her in the chat box and I will assign you to that breakout room. But if Launch Her looks like your thing, please put Launch Her on the chat box and I will assign you to that room. So we're waiting. But if you
yeah.
have gotten the prompt already, you can just easily join the room. Dara, did you get a prompt?
Not yet. I haven't. Let me see.
Okay, Fumilola says launch her. So Fumilola, I'll be taking you to launch her now.
Okay, so I'm just gonna head over to Launcher, so that we could go ahead and begin. We don't want to waste time. We want to give you value for your money and for your time.
Busayo says launch her. So I'm pushing Busayo to
All right, all right, all right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Fumilola. Hi, Bukola. Welcome. Um, you can unmute yourself. Let me see if I can ask you to unmute just to say hi, and then we can go ahead and start. My name is Dorothy, if you came in late. Um, but yeah. Hi, Alexandra. Welcome. Welcome. Okay, so Bukola, Fumi, you can put on your video, unmute yourself, just say hi, and then we can go ahead and begin. Okay? Okay.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, Bukola. Welcome. Great to
Thank
see
you.
you. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining us today.
Yes. It's
Okay,
okay.
great. Hi, Fumi.
Hi, Dorothy. Hi.
Hi. Nice
Nice
to
to see
meet
you
you.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining in. Okay, so I'm gonna go
Okay.
ahead and start because I don't want to waste anyone's time. I'm seeing Chidima as well. So Chidima was part of our Discover Her program. So welcome Chidima, welcome Lawal, Busayo, welcome again, Esther, welcome. Nice to meet everyone. So we're just gonna go in and breeze in. Now, can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so today's presentation is pretty much around the Pivot Playbook, and it's designed for the women in the Launcher Group. And my question to you is, why is 2026, or better still, it's not a question, is more like letting you know the perfect statement, which is why 2026 is your year to pivot. Our goal is that every woman in technology pivots into technology. And if you're pivoting into technology, you have to pivot up, right? And so I'm going to start out with the fear versus the reality. Now, the fear for most women is, and this is women in this group, is you may be here and you're scared of starting over. Or you may be that woman who wants to pivot over. What does it mean to start over? It means that you probably were a stay-at-home mom. You were working before, but you needed to give up work just to take care of your family for a period of time, and now you're worried about starting over. Well, here's the thing. Starting over may be your fear, but because this is something that you need to do for your future, it's intentional for your growth. You need to make sure that you're not the woman in the left-hand side of my screen who is sitting thinking about money, thinking about how to get started with reading, things that are trending as of right now in technology, because you know that technology is always, is always very much dynamic. Every time you wake up, there's always an update to something that had happened yesterday, right? Or you're pretty much thinking, how do I design myself for the field again? Now, the Launcher program has been designed for you to ensure that you're that woman who is able to seamlessly start over again. And for us, we feel that if you're that woman who wants to, pivot up, it means that you're that woman who has already been in technology. It means that you're that woman who is trying to navigate the field. Maybe you're an intern and you've been an intern for so long. Maybe your company doesn't have faith in you. Could there be something that you're missing, and this is causing you to have to make the decision of pivoting over again? Now, this is where the Launcher program comes in. For us, I'm going to identify two fields under the Launcher program, which is the data analyst field and the product management field. The data analyst field is the information detective. That's what Google would call it. You are the information detective. And the high value role, which is it's actually, this is part of the research that we conducted, or we had to take on, is that we found out that the data analyst women, or the data analyst role, is in high demand. It's in high demand based on the projection that was conducted, which said that between 2023 and 2033, there was going to be a 23% to 30% growth, faster than the average occupation that is out there. And so this is a golden news for any woman who decides that today they're going to take a step into becoming a data analyst. I also got another research which showed that the salary potential, and this is in USD, is you can earn as much as $80,000 to $111,000 plus per year, with significant upward mobility if you're then transitioning into the senior or management level, or if you become a data scientist eventually. Now, there's someone in this group who is already who has already taken steps over the years. I always love to bring out Alexandra because she's a perfect example of a stay-at-home mom that has grown as a data analyst. You can connect with her anytime, any day. Okay, so let's just move on to the product managers. For the product managers, they call you the voice of the customer. And why is this? Again, it is the high, so again, understand that these roles are in high demand, very high demand. So when I did my research, I found out that as digital transformation grows, um, companies across healthcare, finance, and tech, they desperately need product management managers to oversee product life circles. Right? This is what we found out. So if you are going to be a product manager, you are in high demand, you are in need from these organizations, from these industries. What then is the high earning potential? We found out that these people are paid between $100,000 to over 200, which is higher than a data analyst. And this also includes bonuses and equity at top firms. Now, I'm just excited because the Launch Her track has been designed specifically around these high growth areas, the data analysts and the product managers. Again, we came up with these roles because of the high demand for these roles. More roles will come in future, but these were our focus for this year. Now, um, Launcher has different offerings. Aside the courses that you will take, there is the career path coaching. And for us, we felt that most women who are in the Launcher category, they fail to have a career path that is clearly lined for them, that is clearly designed for them. And so we thought, why not bring up a coach? Why not bring in a coach that will make you undergo a clinic? It may be two clinics, depending on who we're bringing in. I actually know who we're bringing in, and she's a fantastic expert in this field. She's from the UK, and she's been doing this for years. But the goal of the career path coach is to make you choose the right tech path that aligns to your strengths, that aligns to your interests, and that you will be able to market while the market demands for you. She would help you to build a fulfilling and future-proof career. That is what the career path coach will do for you. So it aligns with your strengths, your interests, and what the market demands while you're able to market yourself. Now, the certification trap versus the certification strategy. For us, we thought to ourselves, what are some of the issues that women who are between the year bracket of 1 to 3 years in technology, what are some of the issues that they would have? And so we realized that, they have issues with certification trap, meaning that they would, go into this field and they have zero knowledge on which certification should I take on. And so we told ourselves, okay, fine, we're gonna build you based on our experience and from sources that we know. We're gonna help you align by making sure we're able to get you the strategy. We're gonna recommend certifications for women in this categories, the data analyst and the product management. That's our job. And that's one of the best guide that we can provide you with. So you will have access to that in the Launch Her program. Now, the other is the anatomy of high value resume. And what does this mean? Um, there are some women who, again, they go into this field, they want to accelerate in the role, but here's the issue with that. They're not able to design their resume as it should be. For last year, we brought in a woman that she's a founder of an organization called Vamp AI. What she does is she revamps the resume of people in order to make it into what the industry requires and what recruiters are looking for and how your resume would pass through ATS, right? And so for this year, we're bringing in not just someone that will revamp your resume, but as part of your launcher package, we need your LinkedIn optimization to be top notch because one of the I think this is probably one of the ways where recruiters find people, which is on LinkedIn. But if your LinkedIn is not optimized to be viewed by a recruiter, you will miss out on multiple opportunities. And this is what the launcher package is going to be offering you. Now, our name is Wentors, and one of the things that we do is offer mentorship. And so for the mentorship side, what we do is we provide you a mentor. This will definitely be in mentor circles. It will be probably 5 to 1, where you're paired with a mentor who is already a product management expert or a data analyst expert. She would probably have around 5+ years of experience, and her goal is to guide you. We always see our mentors as women who are like launchpad. They kick you to the next level. Women who have already been there, have done that, and they're able to help you moving forward. And so that is exactly what this would look like for you. You will have, weekly themes to be able to communicate in the right way with your mentor. Now, the next thing is the 6-week launcher roadmap. And this really shows you a roadmap of what the entire 6 weeks would look like. Again, remember that we have technical courses that you will undergo. Remember that aside the technical courses, you're going to have the mentorship. You're going to have your LinkedIn and resume optimized. There was one thing I failed to mention, which is you will undergo a training, a masterclass training by a trainer on workplace effectiveness. Apologies that I didn't include that, but that's one of the packages that you will have access to. And for us, we felt that most women who start out between this age bracket do not necessarily know how to be effective in the workplace, do not necessarily know how to be efficient in the workplace, do not necessarily know how to blend with the culture in the workplace. And this is exactly what we decided to do, which is design a 1 2 hour masterclass with a coach that would take you through, what you should do in order to be successful in any workplace whatsoever, wherever it would be, wherever you're going to work in the world. This is what we wanted to do. And so this 6 week launch her roadmap is how, your week will go from week 1 to week 2, week 3 to week 4, and definitely the week 5 to week 6. Now, the IWD exclusive offer for us starts with us highlighting 4 different offerings from, you having the 4 week mentorship, which we valued at $71,000, 71,000 naira. The resume and LinkedIn optimization with an expert is valued at 170,000 naira, while the 2 hour workplace effectiveness masterclass is valued at over 300,000 naira. And then the technical skills training with experts of over 8+ years of experience in each chosen field is valued at 200,000 naira, or 140,000. Now, the total value of just 4 of the many offerings that are under launcher is 741,000. But guess what? This is what we valued it at. If you're not if you're going through a different organization or a different community, you won't be getting this offer. But here's what we're offering you. 150,000 naira is what, or $105 is what our offer is to you. This is what the launcher package is. And I keep on asking this question. A lot of women would say, I'm not able to get started. I don't have the complete funding. Or again, just like the woman who was scared in starting over again, you're trying to figure out how do I navigate it? What about the technical classes? The technical classes would happen on weekends. What about the master class? The classes can be recorded and shared with you, but we don't want to do that because we would prefer that you're in the class. But this is giving you value for your money, for your time. Again, recall that we mentioned that we had to conduct or we had to go in and do our research on what product managers are being paid, on what data analysts are being paid. And this is such a small fee for your tomorrow. You need to give in order to sacrifice for yourself. Now, this is again, like I mentioned, the value for just 4 offerings, but our launch her program is costing $150,000. Trust me, this is a small fee for the many things that you will get under just 6 weeks. It it catapults you to the next level as far as I'm concerned. A lot of women have started making the investment. And again, remember that this is an investment in your future. So get started today. But we're going to be doing something, which is we wanted to make it as easy as possible for women who are interested. It's either you're making the full payment or you can split it in two, or if it's not comfortable enough, you can then make it a three-part payment. What does this look like? As you can see on my screen, you see a two-part payment of 75,000 naira that can be made today or on 6th of February. You have the three-part payment where you have 50,000 naira or $35 that can be made today on the 6th of February, on the 20th of February. This makes it easier for you to divide each payment and complete while you're in the game of starting. Trust me when I tell you that technology is not going anywhere, and if you miss this opportunity, you may miss out while you pay heavy in the future. So this is a one-time opportunity that we're giving every woman in our community. And guess what? We're doing this at 15%. So you're not actually going to be paying the entire 150,000 naira. There is a 15% discount that we wanted to offer our women. So if you're making that payment today, give me a moment, please. If you're making that payment today, it's with an offer of 100, it's with an offer of 15% discount. So guess what? Do the calculations. 15% discount of 150,000 naira. Let me see if I'm able to get my calendar up. And please, this is just for 1 hour. 150,000 naira times 15 is divided by 100. How much should that give me? Give me a moment. Let me see. That's 22,000 naira, 22,500 naira off the 150,000 naira. And if I was to do the minus calculation, what you will be paying is just 127,000 naira. And you can do this in part payment, but you need to make that commitment within the next 1 hour. Within the next 1 hour, post this session, you need to make that commitment. But yet again, you may be saying to yourself, okay, when we're done, I need to get a job. I need to get some level of experience when we're done. Guess what? We decided that we were going to design what we call a micro internship. Wentors, we work micro internship. And our goal for the micro internship was we wanted to make women get what the real world experience looks like. And this, even if you're working, you can go ahead and do this. You want to partake in it? Absolutely. You can go ahead and partake just to get the experience and add it to your portfolio. But for you who is done with the launcher program, there are some criterias that we put in place, which you must meet, or else you wouldn't be part of the program. So our eyes would be keen on you back to back. One of which is there must be a maintenance attendance of 80%. You must have 80% maintenance attendance across 4 of the 6 weeks of launcher. The other is you need to contribute to the Quick Learn Initiative. And for those who are not aware about the Quick Learn Initiative, this is our initiative where we pulled out. It's as little as creating what's it called now? Is as little as creating documentations that would help another woman. Okay, say for example, there's a word I'm trying to figure out, but we want you to tutorials, that's a word. We want you to be able to create tutorials that can help another woman just as yourself. So we've had women do this in the past where they create tutorials to help another woman. Maybe for example, you want to be part, you want to create a tutorial on how to design a template in Canva. That's what we're looking for. We would give you the template to help you start, but you need to be the one to create it, not AI. We need you to create that template. So please contribute. Please understand that you must decide to contribute to the Quick Learn initiative, even if it's just one tutorial that you share with us. That is fantastic. The other is a distinction or pass, a pass grade for your final technical project. What this means is if you're under the product management or the data analyst course, the trainer would give you a technical project, which is like your capstone project, and he must decide if this is a distinction or a pass, which then is the criteria for you to either join the breakout room. I'm not the breakout room for you to join the launcher program or the micro internship program. And last but not the least is a completed optimized LinkedIn profile or and a link to your digital portfolio. So the expectation is that when you're done with the launcher program, we want to see that you have been able to optimize your LinkedIn profile, and we also want to see a copy of your digital portfolio, if any. These are the criterias of being part of the micro internship, and you will be guaranteed a slot if you can, if you can meet all of this. Again, the micro internship will last for 8 weeks. We're hoping to have this open between June, July, thereabout, once we're done with, the cohort, the Discover Her and the Launch Her cohort. So this is your sure guaranteed ways. I want to know if you have any question. I'm gonna go through everyone in the room. Let me start out with Fumi. Hi, Fumi. Do you have any question for me? Is there anything that you didn't understand? Let me quickly go over that while we're trying to round off. Alexandra, do you have any questions? Chidima, I'm going to call out everyone that is here. Esther, Busayo, please go ahead and ask your question. Unmute yourself. You can show your video. It all works.
Hi, Dorothy.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. So, my question is, why do we have the 1 hour window frame? And is there a way we can extend that window frame for those of us that want to like think over it? Because it's coming like at the short notice, or
Oh,
is it set in stone?
Oh, so this has been, so usually we have the 10% discount for community members. That has been running since last year. As long as you're in the WhatsApp community, there is a 10% discount. But believe me when I tell you that even that 10% discount is costing us a lot. However, oh, we're moving out soon. However, um, the 15% discount is costing us a lot more. And so we want to make the window so tight because we want women to make the decision immediately. We've been having a lot of campaigns back to back, notifications on our WhatsApp group for women. So it's not really on short notice. It's just because we want to make sure that we're not losing out completely. Again, I showed you the value breakdown of each and every offering. It cost us a lot. The reason why we give it as at this value is because we're a social enterprise, and our goal is, I'm just rushing, our goal is to make sure that every woman is in tech. So that's why, this decision is being made. I hope that answers your question. But we can always connect, in the main room.
All right,
Thank you,
thank you,
Fumi.
Dorothy.
Absolutely. All right, all right, all right. So we're seeing ourselves back. That is great. Hi, Anita. How was your breakout room? I did have one question that was asked. I'm going to share that again just to give all the women more insight into this. The question was around, why the 15% discount cannot be extended. And like I mentioned, the reason why it can be extended is because this program cost us a lot of money. But because we're a social enterprise and we do not play down on quality. In fact, you would tell, if you've been a community members for years, you would tell that everybody that we bring on into our programs, every speaker has always had, no one has ever been below par. And that is because of the narrative that we give. We want to have more women in technology. In fact, our goal is by 2030 that 8 million women are in tech. And for us to be able to do that, we need to make sure that we're going out getting the best of the best, making sure that women can afford to get a place in the seat of technology. We want to reduce the men that are there and we want to take the seats. So that's really our goal, right? But understand that our vision is to nurture women in technology everywhere. So again, this offer would only last for 1 hour. 1 hour only, and then it goes back to the 10% discount. Okay. I know that may hurt a lot of women, but trust me, it's an investment that would reward you in the future. We've all made sacrifices, and this is one sacrifice that we're saying, go ahead and make this because it's worth it. But that really wraps it up for us today. We appreciate you for taking out time to be part of the AMA and also being part of, the breakout rooms. Thank you to everyone who stayed through to the end. I have a question here from Messiah. Based on the payment, what's the 80,000 for, please? The 80,000 is for women who are in the Discover Her program. That's the cost, the full total cost. But if you're in the community, there's a 10% discount. However, because you are part of this, AMA session, there is a 1 hour window where you're able to pay 15% discount for that. So you're able to have the 15% discount. So you can go ahead and make that. Busia says the payment we made before being added to the group. I'm not sure I understand what that means. Uh, okay, I think I have an idea who Busia is, and I want to connect with you much later. So I totally understand your question. I'll probably give you a call since I have your number. Okay. But yeah, that wraps it up for us today. And we will have another AMA next week. Friday is by our um one of our mentors in the past. Her name is Blessing. She will be taking us through data analyst, and we cannot wait for you all to be part of that session. Data analyst is another role that is in high demand, just as I explained. But that really wraps it up. Thank you everyone for joining. Do have a wonderful, wonderful Friday, wonderful weekend, and God bless. Bye, everyone. Bye, Alexandra. Bye, Zainab. Bye, Busayo. Bye, Chidima. Bye, Fumilayo. And then bye,
Bye.
Falakemi. Bye.
Bye, Dorothy.
Uh,
Bye.
Bye.